Let's look at a couple more features of Google Slides, and let's talk about objects and putting objects onto a slide. I'm going to come down to slide 2 down here, and you know what, I really don't want this box in here, so all I have to do is simply just click right on the border of that box, hit my delete key, and now that's gone. Now the first thing I want to do is just kind of come in and grab one of these shapes. So this is an auto shape, and notice that when I mouse over each one of these items here, I get different types of shapes that I could use for lots of different things within the classroom. I'm just going to take this arrow here, and notice that it's going to allow me to come out and draw. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to draw that arrow up by here, and then I'm going to come out and grab another shape. This time I'm going to use a call out here. Again, I'm going to come back, I'm going to take and add that to the list here. Now, each one of these items is a separate object, and notice that when I click on it, it gives me the option to change the color. So if I don't like the line color, if I don't like the fill color, I can come in and I can change, oops, that was the line color again. I can change the fill and the line color simply by clicking on it to select it, and then coming in and using these two options here to change that. I'm going to do the same here to my arrow. Come back again, I'm going to make that a green outline, and we're going to fill that with a lighter yellow. So now each one of these objects, I can color again, I can move them around, I can do lots of different things. Now one of the things that I can do, let's say for example, I want this arrow to point down to this call out. I'm going to size this call out by simply clicking on the corner, and that allows me to click and drag. Now notice I can size this any way, shape, or form, so I can actually distort that item. Sometimes you may not want to do that. I'll show you a trick for how to not allow that to happen. And I'm going to bring my arrow down, but I want my arrow to point up a little bit. So again, I could do something like this and change the shape and the aspect ratio of this. Or if I click on this, notice what it allows me to do. It allows me to take and rotate. I'm simply clicking on this little dot here right up above one of the anchors, and now I can take this and go here. Again, I can resize and do some different things there. So that allows me, or gives me the opportunity. I can do the same for this call out. Let's say I want this to be a little bit more even. That gives me the chance to do that. Now here's another thing I want you to notice. Notice that these little red lines, as I move this around, those are actually a snap to grid. So that tells me where the middle of the slide is. So as I move this around, I know that this particular object right here is in the middle of the page in terms of horizontal plane, and I know that this item right here is in the middle of the page in terms of a vertical plane. Now if I move this up, what you'll notice is that, see there? So now I'm in the exact middle of this page right here, or I'm close to the exact middle of this page as I go up and around. Oh, there you go. It's going to come back. There we go. So now that anchor or that item is in the middle of the page there. So just some real simple things that you can do with objects. I can do this also with objects that I bring in, images and other things that I can bring in. So for example, I click here. Notice I have lots of options to upload images and those types of things. I can take a shot if I have the URL. If I have something in my albums here, it will come in and it will bring different items. If I have something in my Google Drive, I can also do that. It allows me to kind of go back and forth. Or if I want, I can just simply go out and do a search using the Google stock images. So if I come in here and I type in Montana, it's going to find some images here that hopefully I'll be able to use. So here's a map of Montana. I'm going to select that, and that's going to throw that on top of all these others. Again, I can take and I can resize that. Oops, I can resize that image here and place that anywhere on my page. Now, this is where you need to understand how to order your items. So I'm going to click on this. Now notice that this is shadowing the call out here. And actually, I'm going to make this map just a little bit bigger. But I want it to be behind those other two images. So if I right click and if I click on order, notice I can either send it backward, which means it moves it back one step, or if I say just send it to the back, it's going to send it to the back behind all other objects that are on this page. So when I click on that, look what's happened now. My call out shows up. I can size that guy, and here's my arrow, and that allows me to again create kind of a clip art type of graphic here. Now if I wanted to, I can come in, I could put in a little text box, enter my text, and and I could change the font any way I want here. Whoa, and do different things like so. So again, that's a very simple, easy way of using graphics. We can move them around, do lots of things, and create a pretty interesting effect. I want to show you another item that you might find useful. So under your insert menu, you're going to find a couple different items that are not listed on the menu bar, one of those being WordArt. So if you are into WordArt, I can come in here and I can type in, I got the capital O again, type in Montana, oops, and let me go back and let's try that again. Oh, there it comes. All right, there it is. So here's my WordArt, and let's say I want to create a nice effect here. So I'm going to bring that up. And here's what you'll notice is that when I'm clicking on each of these corners, I can actually scale this so it really distorts the text there. So I'm going to show you a little trick, or teach you a little trick here that will help you to keep from distorting your images and different things. So if I hold down my Shift key, what it will do is it will allow me to continue to take and change the height or the width of my font with just similar to what it's done in the past. But if I take and hold down my Shift key, what it will do when I click on a corner is it will allow me to adjust that proportionally, so I don't end up having a skewed image, something that looks like it's been squashed or stretched out too much. So holding down the Shift key and clicking on one of the four corners, that will allow me to take and change the aspect ratio of the height and width at the same rate, so I don't get any changes there. I'm going to set that up so it's right in the middle there. I don't have to worry about this being front or back at this point. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I don't like the color. Again, when I click on this, you notice that these two items become available. Come out here, I'm going to click on a dark blue. I'm going to change the line, so there we go. So notice how I can do that. And then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to click on fill. We're going to get it a light blue there, and there is my WordArt. So WordArt is here under the insert menu. Notice I can also insert a video. That kind of goes the same way. I can do a search for a video, or if you have the YouTube link, I can come in here and paste a YouTube video as well. So that's really some of the objects that you can use in Google Slides. Again, we can move these all around. One of the nice things about Google Slides is I don't have to worry about margins on a page, and so I can put everything out to all the way out to the very edge of this document without having to worry about it, which is a little bit different from a Google Doc or any other kind of doc. That covers most of the basics of Google Slides. As I said, there are lots of things that you can do within Google Slides. One of the things that I didn't show you is that I can simply do a Control-C or Command-C, copy an item from one slide, come to the next slide, Command or Control-V, and that will add that object or item to the slide, to the next slide. So there's Montana that I copied there. So Google Slides, a very powerful way of creating presentations for you and your students.